This is Y the Last Man, One Small Step, still under the DC Comics imprint of Vertigo, and still written and penciled by Brian K. Vaughan and Pia Guerra, respectively. And yes, you may notice how this is book 3 up there in the corner, but seeing as how this isn't the deluxe edition, it picks up where book 1 of the deluxe edition left off, with Y the Last Man number 11 through 17. So Yorick is still going around the US, trying to get to Dr. Man's lab in California. And the book even gives a nice little summary in the front. I quite like it when books do that. Nothing much will jump out at you from the start if you read the previous book or books, except a kinda sorta breaking of the fourth wall. This occurs again in that kinda sorta fashion later on in the book, and is one of the few things in really technical terms that changes between the previous books. Other than that, all the same stuff is here outside of actual plot elements. Art is just as good, but maybe a little less polished, and portrays the story in action well. Dialogue is still its swear-ridden self, and still full of wit and humor, especially from Yorick. There are some fun and interesting plot elements brought into the mix that I don't really want to spoil, and they only make you want to read more. Making you want to read more makes the book not a bore. That's my new slogan. Take it to heart. There's a possibility of a romantic relationship developing between Yorick and another character, which I felt was kind of unnecessary, but it could lead to some form of interesting conflict later on. One of my few gripes is the almost total absence of Yorick and his crew in the last 2 issues of the book, save for the very end of the 2nd issue. They're not bad, but the absence of the main characters make them feel a little strange. Overall, Y the Last Man, One Small Step does most of the great stuff the first book did. It's definitely not as great as the beginning of the series was fantastic, but fans of the first 10 issues will find the same fun and hopelessness in this book. Check it out if you've read those first 10 issues of the series. It gives a nice summary, but it doesn't beat actually reading the story to get the context of this book. And by the way, this is by far my favorite cover in the series so far.